What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So in this video we're going to be discussing 5 very specific designer fragrances. One that is discontinued that is just a magnificent step outside of the box for a designer brand. I like the things they do here, and it's one I'd encourage you to at least try before they get harder to find or the price goes up. And these other 4 are just recent acquisitions in the last few months that I am just over the moon happy to wear and want to talk to you guys about them, and think you should consider at least getting your nose on them this year in 2023, if not getting your hands on a bottle. So let's talk about these 5. Stay tuned. So real quick before we jump into these 5, all 5 of these fragrances can be found in the links down below at perfumeonline.ca. Heck, 4 of these 5 fragrances I actually picked up from perfumeonline.ca, and the 5th one is that discontinued fragrance that we'll be talking about shortly. But if you're interested in any of these, at the recording, they're in stock in the links below. Starting with a very recent acquisition, I'm one wearing in and a few test sprays, and I am loving this one. It's slowly becoming my favorite flanker in this line. It is Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Elixir. I'm digging this. Is it sweet? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not overly sweet, because there's tonka bean, there's vanilla. This Davana note provides kind of this slightly earthy and rich sweetness to it as well. The rose doesn't make it too rosy of a fragrance. Those of you that don't like rose fragrances, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is some really good stuff. It starts to get a bit more woodsy in the dry down with that sweetness for me. Performance so far has been fantastic. If you're looking for a strong performer, this does not lack any of that. 50 ml is going to last a very long time for me. Part of me wonders if I should have got a 100 ml because I really like it, but with a large amassed collection, 50 ml bottles go a long way. This is definitely one I encourage you to get your nose on. I know at the recording of this, 1 Million Royal just came out overseas. Here in the States, I don't believe at the recording of this it's out just yet. I did do a first impressions on it when I was overseas a few weeks ago, and it was really nice, but I do like this one a little bit more. This, in my opinion, is the best 1 million flanker to come out in a few years, and definitely worth getting your nose on this year. If for some reason you haven't tried it yet, it was a release from early last year. You should definitely get your nose on this one. They have them at Sephora's. That's the first time I tried it, was at a Sephora. Get out, get your nose on this one, and if you decide you want to pick it up, grab it from a discount or online, like in the links below. But one you should really consider this year is Paco Rabanne's 1 Million Elixir. Next is sweet, fruity, tropical, just one of the best releases of 2022 as far as designer fragrances for men are concerned. I absolutely adore this one. It is superior to its Eau de Toilette original. We're talking about Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Parfum. Here you get all of that coconut, tonka bean, sweet tropical goodness from the Eau de Toilette, but it's enhanced with this juicy pineapple smell, a little bit of fresh green smell from some cypress. There's a little bit of a soapy tone from some iris. It doesn't make it super powdery or anything like that, so it's not really an iris-based fragrance. Don't get that from your mind if you're not a fan of powdery and floral fragrances. No worries here. The powderiness that you will get comes from that sweet tonka bean note. This stuff is so good. Performance is great on it. And it's not too much of a sunscreen smell, because I know designer coconut fragrances can be a bit more sunscreen-esque, and a lot of people don't like that, but some people do enjoy it. Here, it's not heavily sunscreen coconut type of smell. It's very well balanced with the juiciness, that fruity sweet smell of this pineapple note that you get in the top that hangs out for quite a while. Again, like I said, performance is great. This is every bit of a 10-hour fragrance on my skin, and it leaves a pretty good trail without being an overwhelming room filler in your sillage. It is pretty strong, and it's definitely one worth getting your nose on. Again, you have to like sweet fragrances, obviously, but it isn't just a typical sweet fragrance, because it's very tropical and fruity and kind of by the beach vibes, if you will. This is magnificent. One of my favorite releases from last year. Definitely worth checking out this year. Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Beau Parfum. Next, this is still, at the recording of this, my favorite in the line. It takes what's great about the original, about Intensely, and so on. You just name the flankers, and everything good about those can be found in Stronger With You. Absolutely. Plus some rum. So you're going to get the cinnamon spice. You're going to get the toffee sweetness. You're going to get the roasted chestnut. All the beautiful things about the different flankers, including the base DNA, the original Stronger With You, You're going to get that here. Very, very well balanced. It's not too boozy, it's not too sweet, it's not too spicy, and so on. It's not too woodsy, but you will get a lot of all of that. It kind of just works in harmony perfectly, these notes. Nothing kind of overtakes one another. Performance is fantastic. I can tell you firsthand, my wife is a huge fan of this one. It is still my favorite. Yes, I really love Intensely. I really like the Leather Flanker, and so on. They're all really good. There's not a bad fragrance in the line, in my opinion, or even a mediocre, passable fragrance. They're all pretty good. This one's the cream of the crop, though. In my personal opinion, this is the way to go. This is also seems to be the hardest one to find. At the recording of this, there's stock in the link below, but I have seen it run out of stock a few times, but this one's so good. Like I said, not too much of any one thing. It's not too sweet, not too spicy, and so on, because some people don't like too sweet. This is less sweet than the previous two fragrances, in my opinion, personally. But if you're looking for a very strong, seductive type of scent profile, something great for the evenings, you're going to want to take a look at this one this year. It's Emporio Armani, Strong With You, absolutely. This next one, I am so head over heels freaking happy to have this in my collection finally. I had a decant, now I have a 60 ml bottle. 60 ml is going to go a long way, like we talked about with the 50 ml for 1 million Elixir. This came in the same haul. This is Yves Saint Laurent. This is Why Le Parfum. Big fan of this one. In my opinion, it is the best smelling version. Let me get that to focus for you guys. There we go. This is the best smelling version of the DNA, in my opinion. You save a lot of the freshness from the lighter flankers, and you get a lot of the performance from the heavier flankers, such as the Eau de Parfum. I know at the recording of this, the Eau de Parfum Intense is out. Yes, I have done some videos on it. I do have a decant, and it's nice, but I do prefer this rendition. It is superior to me, very fizzy. I love how they kept the aldehydes from the Eau de Toilette here, even though that musky ambergris accord is not listed in the note breakdowns officially. I still get that smell. It definitely smells like a deeper, richer version of the Eau de Toilette with a, less sweetness than the Eau de Parfum. It's kind of like taking the Eau de Parfum's overall performance, because this one's not quite as loud, but it is pretty loud overall. Very long lasting on my skin, but you still get all of that freshness of the Eau de Toilette, because that's why I like the Eau de Toilette so much. The aldehydes, that apple smell, which the apple's more subdued here. You get more grapefruit with the aldehydes, and it kind of makes almost this orangey, fizzy type of smell to me, even though orange isn't listed in the notes. That with the ginger and everything, that crispness that the ginger can provide. Oh, this is such a beautiful fragrance. I encourage you, get out and try this one this year. This might be one that you need to add to your collection. This is one of the best blue fragrances to come out in the last few years, in my opinion. And for me, it's pretty much the best of the line. I'm a big fan of this particular DNA. Again, no bad fragrances in the line, including the new Intense. They're all at least pretty good fragrances, but for me, this stands tall above the rest. This is the best version of Why, in my opinion, and one that I implore you, get your nose on it this year. If I can get that to focus, there we go. Again, that's Yves Saint Laurent Why Le Parfum. Last but not least is that Discontinue fragrance I referenced in the beginning of the video. I was fortunate enough to get this gifted to me by a friend of mine who got a great deal on some testers. Shout out to my guy, an unaveraged Joe. Buddy of mine sent this to me. I had a decant. I was planning on getting a bottle sooner than later. This is magnificent. Definitely the most daring of the fragrances in this video. It's Gucci Guilty Absolute. This is masterfully done. Leather fragrance fans are going to want to check this one out. If you like very dry, woodsy, and green fragrances, you might like this one as well. A lot of cypress, woodsy notes, and the leather here is on the drier side of things. It's a dry scent profile overall. When you smell it, you'll know exactly what I mean when I say a dry scent profile. It will literally dry your sinuses. Man, but is this good. It's even a little smoky. There's a depth to this fragrance without it being a complex note breakdown. That's one thing I can appreciate about this. So Gucci is known to kind of go out the box a bit with their scent profiles. Gucci Guilty Cologne, very strange fragrance, which I've been meaning to get a bottle of that one. That one's strange good to me. Some people don't care for it. A lot of their fragrances are polarizing. I also have Gucci Guilty Intense. Not near the challenge this one is, but this is my favorite Gucci fragrance. I have a few fragrances from other lines from them as well. And this is one that very masculine fragrance, very show out statement maker, but kind of can be that special fragrance in your collection. And from what I understand, it is discontinued at this point. That's why Bloomingdale's was getting rid of all those testers, and Joe was able to snag several of them. Again, thank you so much, Joe, for sending this my way. The best fragrance I've gotten from a friend in a long, long time. So he's a real one. Make sure you subscribe to An Average Joe. But if you want what's considered in the community to be a daring fragrance, which if you're used to stuff like this all the time, sure, it's daring. But if you're in the community, you're an enthusiast, you have amassed a pretty sizable collection, or you have a very diverse collection, your palate has matured, and you've gotten to where you can appreciate leather and smoky fragrances and things like that, slightly more challenging fragrances and scent profiles overall. If you appreciate things like that, you'll probably appreciate this. This is kind of a niche scent profile in a designer bottle. Not saying it's necessarily niche level quality, but it definitely doesn't smell cheap. But this is one that sooner than later. 2023 is probably the year, though. You need to get your hands on this if you're interested in ever getting it before, because prices are just going to go up. Again, that's Gucci Guilty. Absolute. Well, that's the 5 that I have for you today. And until next time, do me a real quick favor. Go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. I do appreciate all the feedback, and I love hearing from you guys. Of these 5, what have you tried, or what piqued your interest? These are ones that I've recently added to my collection. I think the eldest of these 5 that I've added was Beau Parfum, which was maybe 2 months ago. So all pretty new to the collection, which I did have a decant of that one prior. Most of these I had decants and or had tried. All of them, actually, prior to getting bottles. So obviously try before you buy, but if you've already tried these and it's something that's kind of on the wish list, let 2023 be the year that you add them to your collection. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on any of the 5 we discussed in this video and you give them a spray now, pretty confident you'll thank me later. Some good stuff. Have a good one, guys.